Today we break down Speak Now, Taylor's version by Taylor Swift, specifically in Dolby Atmos. For those of you new to Dolby Atmos, it is the listening experience where we have not only surround sound speakers that are ear height, but also speakers that are at height level or coming from the ceiling. I've listened to this album through Apple Music, the Dolby Atmos version, obviously, on my Apple 4K TV player through my Dolby Atmos surround sound home theater system. This won't be a review of how good or bad the album is, but spoiler alert, the album is a masterpiece. I went through every song just to see what elements of Dolby Atmos and spatial audio were being used and where you could kind of pinpoint it. And some of the songs are actually demo worthy if you want to show off a home theater system, or if you want to listen to it in Dolby Atmos for the first time, you could go into a store and say, hey, can you play this song for me? So stay tuned. My setup contains center channel, left and right, front speakers, which are towers, 2 subwoofers in the front, 2 rear speakers that are ear height in the back, and 2 height speakers that are built into the ceiling to get that true Dolby Atmos effect. I understand that not everyone listens to it in this experience, but since these remasters all contain lossless Dolby Atmos listening tracks, I felt the need to review it listening to it this way, which is night and day compared to listening to it either through a computer, through your laptop, through your phone, or even through headphones. So without further ado, let's get into it. To start off, I have the volume set at 52 dBs. If you're not very technical, that is very loud. I did find myself adjusting the speakers throughout the first 2 songs just to get that right feeling. I turned down the subs a little bit, bumped up the rear speakers and the height speakers just to see what kind of Atmos mix was Taylor's team doing with this. So the first song, Mine, very minimal use of Dolby Atmos with all of the speakers. Again, these remasters sound night and day compared to when the album came out, 13, 10, 7, 8 years ago, whenever they were originally released. Technology changes, the tunings of the guitars change, the crispness of everything just sounds so much better, these versions, whether you want to admit it or not. And, Taylor's voice has changed. The guitars might tune the guitar a little bit differently. I think real Taylor Swift fans would pick up even the little ad-libs and stuff like that. But as far as the Atmos goes, the only thing that I picked up in mine was the backing vocals of I Can See It Now, the echoes of when she says it, you hear a backing vocal. Those came from the rear, and also some stuff on the top too. Sparks Fly, I really had to stand next to the speaker to make sure I was really getting the Dolby Atmos effect. I didn't hear anything until about 3 minutes and 29 seconds in, where you could hear gasps in the backing vocals. At this point, I had to kick up the surround speakers and the ceiling speakers like 5 notches, and then left the center and the fronts and the subs the way they were. But just to get that really Atmos effect, I had to bump up the backs, which did pay off for the rest of the album, so I'm glad we did that on the second song. Now back to December, the strings of the song enter in the rear. In the back, you could also hear the shakers and some various percussion items during the chorus. There's a random bell ringing after the first chorus coming out of the ceiling speakers. And once you get to that bridge, that famous bridge, the strings are more active, almost in every channel too. It's kind of like a really submersive sound, which is very interesting. Sounds really good. Speak Now, the vocals start in the center channel, obviously. If you want to picture what this sounds like, it's like sitting in a room and the band is around you playing, but Taylor Swift would be in front of you with the rhythm guitar, lead guitar, and a drummer to her left or right. That's where 95% of the sound and music was coming from. And then these additional elements were coming from the back and top. But they did a good job mixing it and changing it. Just added to the experience of listening to these songs in a 2023 production level that I've been listening to for the past decade. So the band joins in the front. Again, a lot of stuff going in the front, but in the back you had the tambourines. I believe you had bells or xylophones in the pre-chorus. And then the organ, which kind of simulates the wedding organ, came from above during the bridge, which is pretty cool. And then all of the backing vocals are on the rear speakers and the top, which is pretty cool. Now, Dear John, Guitar 2, which isn't Taylor. Taylor's strumming. Guitar 2 is in the back, and she's in the front. So also during the verses, you hear plucking in the back. The bending of string notes, if you're a guitar player, kind of pick up the, kind of when you pluck a single string and then you kind of bend it to make that sound. That's what you heard from the above too. And also the piano came in the rear during the chorus. Mean was interesting mix. Mean had the same guitar layer both in the front set of speakers and the back set of speakers, so there's no separation there up until the end. So at 307, there's a kind of a strum palm mute on the acoustic guitar that you can hear. That's going on in the back, while in the front you hear the rest of the band. And then the Why You Gotta Be So Mean harmony, melody does come through all channels, which is like, again, if you're sitting in the middle of the band and everyone around you is singing, you get that kind of effect, which is really, really cool. Okay, let's go to the Story of Us. So the guitar progression, there's a picking in the rear, which I didn't really hear on the original version, and I've seen the video 1,000 times. You just don't pick that up, so I don't know if this was a new kind of element to the song, but you do hear kind of progressive picking in the back from guitar number 2 or 3, possibly. Now in the chorus and the pre-verse, there is an odd sound, and I thought it was my text message going off, but putting my ear up to the speaker, it sounded like multi-tone bongos. Someone please comment below what instrument this was. Again, this is pre-chorus, and then it goes on throughout the song. Oddly enough, there was no sound coming from the heights on this song. Maybe it was just producer's choice. Maybe they just didn't have any elements or sound or instruments to come through The Story of Us. And again, there's no backing vocals in the song, so interesting choice that there was nothing coming from the height channel speakers. Never Grow Up, which is, if anyone has friends that have children recently, you probably see it all over your Instagram or your stories or anything like that. Everyone loves using this song when they share pictures of babies. Again, has the guitars and vocals up front. Now in the back are backing vocals and guitar 2. Using the height and rear is all of the backing vocals, kind of like they say the voice from heaven. If you're thinking of like Lana Del Rey, Snow on the Beach, those kind of vocals came from the ceiling. Let me know if you want me to do a review on Midnights and Dolby Atmos too. Nothing really happening here until 4:19, which is the tail end of the song, where all of the backing vocals come out of all channels throughout the rest of the song. And again, that's the tail end of the song. Just an odd choice of when they decide to kind of take advantage of Atmos. Probably 5% of the people that listen to Taylor Swift are going to be listening through this experience. Next up, Enchanted, one of my favorite songs on the album. Pretty interesting. I don't remember this being in the original version, but 53 seconds in, there is a binaural sound effect once the guitar comes in, which is pretty cool. The chorus in the rear was guitar 3, I believe, plucking, picking some notes, and then the height was all of the vocals. The strings come out of everywhere, which is a really cool effect. Made me write down the word demo just because this is something, if you want to show off what Dolby Atmos sounds like musically, and you have a Taylor Swift fan that wants to hear Taylor Swift, this is the song that you put on. It just, the size of the song gets bigger and bigger as we go on, and again, at some point I wrote down demo with a star. The instrumental pre-bridge, again, uses Dolby Atmos to the best ability, and that whole please don't be in love with someone else, it's like she's speaking in the back while her alter ego is playing in front of you. You hear kind of like voices in your head, that type of effect, which is really cool. That was the standout song of the album. Again, if you live near a Best Buy or anyone that has a home theater or anything like that, ask them to play this song for you. Really cool. Another cool song was the song right after it, Better Than Revenge. The voices and the vocals start in the rear, and every time you hear Taylor in a disturbed voice, which is kind of like her conscious or alter ego or her taunting herself or taunting Camilla Bell, you hear it alternating left, right, center, height. Really cool. And aside from just her speaking and those taunts and kind of one-word support vocals, there was no use of Dolby Atmos at all. Nothing in the rear, no additional layer in the rear, nothing in the height, no instruments specific to certain speakers. It was literally music in the front and then her talking in every other speaker that was available, and that alternated, that changed, and really made for a unique experience. Next up, we have the Kanye West diss track, Innocent. So immediately when the song starts, everything comes from the rear. It's the voices, it's the guitar, it's everything starts from the back and then kind of phases into the front, which is really cool. In the back, you have that, again, track of a guitar picking. I don't know if that's guitarist number 2 or 3. It's just a different layer of the strumming and the rhythms and leads that you hear in the front that everyone and the naked ear are used to. There's just something else going on in the back, which makes for an interesting experience. And again, we're reliving these songs that we're used to, and then we hear something new. We don't know if it's specific for Atmos or specific for this mix, but worth a listen. Also, again, the chorus, the backing vocals are coming from the top, that kind of descending from heaven effect that you do get in a lot of Atmos stuff. Next up is my favorite Taylor Swift song of all time, Haunted. The strings immediately come everywhere in the intro. Again, there's a weird plucking sound from the guitarist that is different than the normal mini solo that he's doing during the verses. And then the sound of losing breath is kind of like you hear a gasp, but it's definitely Taylor doing some additional vocals, and that's coming from the back too, and then all of the pianos too. So limited stuff there, but again, Haunted 2023, Taylor's version. Again, one of my favorite songs by her. Last Kiss, guitar starts coming in the rear, kind of wind chimes that you hear both at height and rear, and other than that, not really active for Last Kiss, although it is a really good song. Long Live is next, and at 2:10 you hear kind of a bell note, and then obviously tambourine playing. 4 minutes into the song, really, really good example here. There's harmony, there's melody, there's everywhere coming out of every speaker, and other than that, it's not really active. And then all of the additional vocals at the end were coming out of every speaker, alternating different people, different speaker. Really, really cool effect there. Again, you have to experience it, and you're not going to get the same thing from laptop audio or headphone audio or anything like that. But I do appreciate that these albums are released in Atmos. Ours is the next song. We have rhythm, guitar, the same track in both the front speakers and back speakers. We'll see that again a couple of times here. Nothing out of the ordinary, but it is the same exact track playing in the front and the back. It sounds like someone's doing the clapping blocks. So I'll try to get a picture to upload here, but the clapping blocks are coming from the rear during the chorus, and then the band's vocals come from the top as well too. So nothing out of the ordinary there. Superman, absolutely nothing until the chorus with his tambourine playing. I would say that's not active at all. Again, it's the last track from the normal song, so maybe they just said let's put this out, but absolutely nothing in Superman until you hear like a tambourine shaking in the background in the chorus. Very interesting though. Electric Touch, one of the Vault songs, so absolutely nothing until 3 minutes in, which got me concerned because these new songs are now newly produced, brand new tech, everything like that. And to start off with Electric Touch and not have anything 3 minutes in, I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Like, none of these Vault songs are going to get the same love that the entire album just got. But nothing until 3 minutes in, you just hear like one chime, basically. When Emma Falls in Love, the guitar starts in the rear, you hear the backing vocals and the chorus vocals, so that was layered properly in Atmos. I Can See You, which sounds really, really good. I saw someone post on Reddit that I Can See You sounds what they thought Midnight's was going to sound like. The distortion in the back, really, really cool. There's kind of a guitar specifically for the back channel, and it has that distortion pedal plugged in. Pretty cool. Bridge and vocals, she's speaking in the left and right. Really, really cool effects there. The pre-chorus has the vocals coming out of everywhere. A lot of people enjoy this song, and the video just dropped, so really, really cool. Castle's Crumbling, vocals are coming out of every channel, and the vocal pitch, just to kind of critique the song, kind of reminds me of Safe and Sound a little bit, just the way she was singing. So comment below if you agree there. Nothing really going crazy, except there were strings coming out of the rear, and at 3:09 there was a cool vocal effect during Castle's Crumbling. Foolish One, there's absolutely no activity until they drop the lyric Voices Say, which came out of everywhere. So Foolish One, almost zero activity. Electric Touch, almost no activity. Superman 2, nothing. And then Timeless, which is the final song, had nothing really until 3 minutes and 30 seconds in, which you do get a vocal effect from Dolby Atmos speakers there. All in all, the album is produced great. From a fan standpoint, I love the way all these new albums sound. Love the little ad-libs, and even if you're an instrument player or a diehard Swift fan, you could hear maybe the guitar was tuned differently here, or they added this kind of strum, or she kept her giggles in, which is pretty cool. I appreciate these. So these sound sonically really, really good. If you had to demo it, I would just use Enchanted as the example, but from a Dolby Atmos standpoint, you really do get a good experience. So sitting throughout the entire album was, a little over an hour and a half. Did get a really, really good experience. And again, Dolby Atmos is the effect of having the sound all around you, this spatial audio. I'll upload pictures of the sound coming everywhere and where you would sit and where the sound would be bouncing off of and hitting you and hitting your ear, really making for a good experience. Comment below how you listen to the album. how you listen to your Taylor's versions, and what do you think? If you're a Dolby Atmos listener, comment below too, because I don't think there's many out there. Good job here by the team mixing it for Atmos, even though sometimes there was, doubling tracks or absolutely no activity coming out of the Atmos, but it does really make for a good album listening experience. And let me know what you guys think, what you're listening to, what's the next Taylor's version that's going to be coming out. Do we think it's 1989? Is she going to do the self-titled? Who knows? And let me know if you're going to go catch her live. If you're new to the channel here, I've been uploading what I took from the MetLife show. Amazing show, worth every penny, and hopefully if you're watching this you had an opportunity to see her or get tickets at least. And let me know if you want me to do reviews of other Dolby Atmos albums. I started with Taylor Swift just because I was so used to the original works. I didn't mind sitting through this album because it's one of my favorite albums from her. I feel like I had to break in the system for a nice Dolby Atmos sound mix. The last time I listened to her album in Dolby Atmos was obviously Midnight's, which was really produced really well. So she's got a great team behind her. She's got an amazing ear for music and production, and the production team, again, deserves all the awards in the world. And that is it. So, again, Taylor Swift, Speak Now, Taylor's version, Dolby Atmos only. Not going to give this a score, not going to tell you how good or bad the album is. Spoiler alert, I love the album. Give it a listen, give it a spin, download it, buy it. I just got the vinyl in today, and that's it. So I'm going to chop this up. Hopefully it's under 10 minutes. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys on the next one.